In SurveyMonkey, beyond being a survey platform, we actually have a wide variety of AI use cases within our product, from AI-powered survey creation to like insights generation to abuse prevention and more. Now with generative AI, we actually integrate the tools into each step of our workflow. So I'm excited by that possibility of really reimagine what the software tools that can do today with the enablement that AI and generative AI provide.
You're in for a really great episode today with the VP of AI and ML at SurveyMonkey. Jing Huang was a pleasure to talk to. We forget that SurveyMonkey basically built the category for digital surveys. Everything before that was pen and paper. And in a world where everyone is talking about synthetic data and scaling laws when it comes to large language models, this really was a breath of fresh air on the value of human-generated data, what it means to be more conscious when we contribute data to AI systems and surveys, how to build a more positive relationship with AI as a tool, how SurveyMonkey themselves are integrating Gen AI into their workflows for building and analyzing surveys, why nailing the use case and asking why is at the heart of every AI investment decision that SurveyMonkey makes, along with tons of examples of how they evaluate use cases and probe the why, and why data and infrastructure are so critical for getting value from AI. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Chief AI Officer. Today, I'm speaking with Jing Huang, who is the VP of AI and ML at SurveyMonkey. Jing, thanks so much for joining the show today.
Thanks, Ben. Excited to be here.
Yeah, I think SurveyMonkey is a company many in the space know, and being so close to surveys and insights, has to be a ton of exciting use cases when it comes to AI and ML. Starting more personally, when was your first aha moment with AI?
My first aha moment with AI, it was back in 2012 when AlexNet won the ImageNet competition. It was a turning point for me because it took me back to a class I took in graduate school back in 2006. The class was called Brain Theory. It was taught by a professor, Michael Arbib, at University of Southern California. In that class, we explored how human brain works and experimented with programming neural networks. We're trying to imitate our brain's function, right? It was thrilling to imagine just replicating aspects of the brain through code. But we also had that lingering doubt. This may never become a reality in our generation. To think about the complexity of a human brain, think about the computation cost, so on and so forth, right? So when AlexNet showed that deep learning could achieve in 2012, it felt like everything clicked. It was that moment I realized this is possible. And it wasn't just about replicating the human brain structure through code. It was more about finding ways to imitate how we humans learn and improve over time. And that shift in perspective changed how I understand and everything that I had learned about ML before. So.
Yeah, the neural nets, I think, have become such a dominant force out of all of the different types of AI that there are today. It's amazing to have watched their rise. And as you point out, it's far precedes the launch of ChatGPT, which is when so many people outside the space became aware of the technology. That was earlier on. Now in your role at SurveyMonkey, what does it look like for you? What's a typical day for Jing at SurveyMonkey?
My days are, just like any typical senior engineering leader, right? There's no exception. They're often split among collaboration, brainstorming, reviewing execution status, keep up with the technology, etc. So nothing that special, but exciting though.
Do you, so I take it you're much more of a people manager these days than an individual contributor to code. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. It's fair. Even though I do this, the days that I get my hands on, I get a lot of the dopamine by building code in the early days of my career.
Yeah, that's not a dissimilar trajectory to many people I speak to on this show. Looking a bit more broadly at the market, how would you summarize the current state of enterprise AI today?
So when we think about enterprise AI is a broad term, right? Its state can vary significantly depending on the industry and its pace of adoption. I find it helpful to actually look at enterprise AI through main use cases, regardless of the industry that we talked about. One is internal operations. The other is really building AI enhanced product offerings. First, for the internal use cases, AI is being leveraged to improve efficiency and productivity. In this use cases, we have seen strong adoptions of plug and play solutions that work well out of the box. Those range from classic AI applications like financial forecasting to the newer generative AI tools such as Copilot, right, that enhance workflows. On the other hand, integrating AI directly into product offering is inherently more challenging. It often requires organizations to modernize their tech stack, build scalable data systems, and establish efficient machine learning operations, so on and so forth. That becomes even more complex when the AI features needed to be integrated into real-time systems where latency, reliability, and performance are even more critical. So in general, we can't really put a blanket statement on the state of enterprise AI, right? Without really specifying the context of the industry, the use cases. As what we just talked about, the internal adoption is accelerating probably a bit more with the ready-made tools. Building AI-driven and real-time product solution demands deeper investments in infrastructure, processes, and talent. And the organizations that overcome those challenges will have a significant edge.
Speaking of, you ended on talent. I love the split between internal operations and more product innovation as your two buckets, let's say. How do you build your team today? Does one team focus on internal operations and the other team focuses on product, or is there a blend between the two? How do you think about that?
This is a really good question, and it's also a classic question, right? Whenever we need to organize and build the AI operation or think about machine learning capabilities within a company, I have seen both ways. For us right now, I think for the business-driven side of the use cases, we have a dedicated team, and my team is mostly focused on the product side of the operation, building the AI products.
Okay, and you mentioned use cases. I think that's a very common theme, right? Is building use case first to make sure that you're creating value for your users, for the business. Are there any specific use cases on the product side that you're particularly enthusiastic about?
So for us, I think that this is one of the things may not be that well known, right? In SurveyMonkey, we beyond being a survey platform, we actually have a wide variety of AI use cases within our product, from AI-powered survey creation to insights generation to abuse prevention and more. Now with generative AI, we actually integrate the tools into each step of our workflow. So I'm excited by that possibility of really reimagine what the software tools that can do today with the enablement that AI and generative AI provide. So more specifically, I think beyond what our product features, if there are things that we think about the latest AI advancement, there are two things I'm super excited. One is agents, another is multimodal.
I'd love to get into that a little bit. One on the conversational, or I guess on the different steps of that product journey. I've had a lot of people on the show talk about how generative is amazing for insights extraction from data, like the idea of building conversational interfaces over the survey data that you have, obviously very exciting. And on the flip side, I can imagine someone building surveys, very nice to get some inspiration from generative AI. But let's dig in a little bit, if you can, on how you're doing agentic in the survey world, because I'd love to understand how you're thinking about it.
I think it's a bit early for us to talk about the specifics of how we can use agent for this space. Agentic flows, agentic is probably even a very new word itself, but the possibility and the capability it can provide, it has the potential to basically revolutionize how we build SaaS today. It can change, if not other industry. I think the software industry definitely where we have to rethink and give the possibility to elevate the automation to the next level. But for us, right, beyond agent, I think it's a more of think of how we can enable survey or information collection to be a lot more effective. Think about when SurveyMonkey, when we was created, we basically created the online survey category. We revolutionized from the paper filling survey to fully digitalized survey filling, right? That productivity gain, I think we'll see, if not more, at least the same level with the AI enablement today. You can write with one single prompt, we'll be able to generate a full-blown survey, high quality, with you like in seconds. That's unimaginable. And if you even think about the paper filling, how much time you would need to figure out the questions, right? Let alone say sending or reaching to people. Those can be done in hours, days, compared to like months before you even need a workforce to go into the field. So I think that's where the perspective I like to think about the productivity gain that we'll be able to get with this wave of AI innovation. And yeah, it's just the sky's the limit.
Yeah, I love the historical context because it's easy to forget that SurveyMonkey basically created this category. And a long time ago, it was not very common to be running surveys online. And to your point about the productivity gains, it does seem like a huge unlock because you can, through prompt engineering, I'd imagine there's many ways that you can really embed great research and survey methodology into helping people build better surveys in a way that is just far more intuitive. So I imagine I'd be watching SurveyMonkey with anticipation of what's coming out. I mean, as you think about AI, agentic, product innovation, what are your top priorities when it comes to investing in AI right now?
We talk about the survey industry, right? Think about what survey is all about. It's about data collection. And it's more about data collection on human-generated data. At SurveyMonkey, we just talked about, we pioneered the online survey category, right? Revolutionized how information was collected by transitioning from paper survey to fully digitalized experience. And now with AI, I think we're really at the beginning of another transformation. So for me, the top priority is really to understand the technology deeply and be able to move fast to capture the opportunities presented. And I think that's where the information collection industry, if it's not now, but in the near future, we will see a big shift on how we do things.
And as that shift is happening, there's going to be a lot of competition. There's a lot of innovation. What do you think some of the biggest challenges will be for organizations to really realize the benefits?
When we think about challenges to organizations that, just like SurveyMonkey, right? If we needed to benefit from AI and really realizing the benefit, I think there are two things. One is really think about, we talk about use case, right? Really be clear about the use case. So basically asking the why question. This is one thing I keep emphasizing, right? When there's a new technology happen, or a new technology breakthrough, including AI, right? Any technology. This is not something new. Technology breakthrough, we see it over time, not because there's a new technology that we have to adopt it. We have to understand and ask the why question, nail the use cases. It's the same for us, right? Where should we put AI? What is that value add or transformation that we'll see in the industry? So nailing the use case and asking the why, it's always going to be the number one priority. And the second is, I think we think about the tactics, and back to AI specifically, is really prioritizing your data strategy, modernize your tech stack. AI, it's not like any technology itself, it's not a magic line. It will just come in and work, right? Specifically for AI, it relies really on quality data, strong infrastructure. So really investing in a solid foundation, whether that's like scalable data system or robust machine learning operations, will carry you a long way and ensure your AI initiatives are sustainable and impactful. I do believe organizations that start with purpose and invest in the right foundations are the ones who will succeed in really realizing the AI's benefit and maybe reach its full potential.
Yeah, nail the use case and remember the why, or don't be afraid to ask the why is so important up front. And you're right. There's been digital transformation going on for decades, but it's so true that to really get the most out of AI, you're going to be as limited as the quality of the data and the infrastructure across which you can deploy it. And so it's very much get that foundation right first. Are there any examples you can give of approaching that initial use case with kind of the why in mind? Like, do you have any stories of you saw a use case, you asked the why, you decided that's not for us, or this is a good example, let's do this now?
Right. I think the most example that we had, right, was when really back into 2022 when ChatGPT brought that enormous excitement, right, to the industry. And there's a wave of urgency to say, okay, we have to get onto the bus of generative AI. We need to understand where things are. That was the time that we re-examined, like, yes, the technology is great, but from the main advantage of use case, think about what should we use, right? There are mostly, if we're thinking about content generation, if we're thinking about media use cases, that's probably not the right fit for our industry or the domain we are in. But that's where generative AI really shine from the creative works at the beginning, like even before ChatGPT, think about scalability AI and all DALI, right? There's a wave of excitement. So that was when we look at the technology and ask us, okay, where this thing should fit into our business and help our customers and solve a real problem. And that's the first why question. And then we look at large language model and see the capability. And the second question is also when the technology is ready, are we ready? Where can we really plug that in with the most reasonable cost and timeline in mind? So for us, right there, I think those are our key aspect of asking those questions. And it was clear after that thought exercise, and also it's a session we do collaboratively with all our partners in R&D, figure out, okay, what is right? And do we have the right technology and talent to be able to deliver? So that's where when we came to the conclusion, the first Gen AI feature we're going to put into SurveyMonkey is what we call build with AI. So basically, you put a simple prompt, we will be able to generate a full survey for you. And it sounds as simple, but there's a lot of domain expertise get into that. Because if you do the same prompt into ChatGPT, you will not get the same level of quality of surveys that you will get from SurveyMonkey. We have our data scientists work on, especially to be able to apply the domain knowledge that we had for over 20 years into that. And that's where we feel like, hey, this is a true value add for our customer. They have to spend hours, if not days, to think about how to properly organize and asking a question in a survey before this tool. Now they get it in minutes, right? With simple, maybe a little bit simple twist on something, but they get it. And that's one of the top adopted survey creation method ever since we released it. So I think that was one of the examples where I really think, even though there's a lot of possibilities with the technology, but really nailing it down, applying to your use case.
That's such a great example of the power of domain-specific expertise, right? And getting it that little bit further, because I think LLMs are being commoditized very, very quickly, right? The capabilities are increasing, but when it comes to really pushing the boundaries within a specific domain, like survey research, that's where you can have the most differentiated values. So I love that that's how you're thinking through it. And then it completely makes sense to me that SurveyMonkey, with all of the data that you have, can not only help users structure the survey in terms of, what's methodologically like the right way to structure it, but also, you have all this data on conversion rate, like how quickly do people complete surveys? How do we structure surveys in that way? So I love that example because I think the future is technology is very much in how both incumbents and innovators are leveraging this technology using their domain-specific expertise. As all this excitement is happening in the marketplace, what is an aspect of AI that you think doesn't get enough attention?
I love this question. So it's a very interesting question. So we have, even within this conversation, right, we have spent a lot of time discussing about AI's potential, its capability, and even in a lot more context on its dangers. I think we really are, I don't think we emphasize enough the critical role of we as human beings play in shaping the direction of AI. Let me explain this from the perspective of data generation, because we've been talking about information collection, right? We're in a survey industry. AI, especially if we're thinking about large language models, excel because it learns from human-generated data, the wisdom, creativity, and yes, even the biases, right? Embedded in our history and society. But as we look ahead, we are already encountering a data shortage for the next chapter of AI innovation. Solutions like synthetic data are emerging, the different ways we're trying to solve the problem. But in this context, I believe quality matters far more than quantity. A machine can generate text in a speed we as humans never will be able to match. Right? That's the reality. Speed is not what we should compete anyways. To shape the future of AI thoughtfully, we need genuine, diverse, and meaningful human input continuously piped into the ecosystem. So here's some actionable thing that we can do. Whenever you encounter tools or surveys, right, asking for your input, don't dismiss them. Take a moment to share your unique perspective. I think our conscious contribution, it isn't just data. It's a building block for the AI's evolution. If we want AI to reflect the best of humanity, we need to actively participate in shaping it.
I love that answer because I think it's easy to be jaded with the current reality. I've read a lot about, scaling laws, the challenges of synthetic data. Are these models really going to get any better? Where can we find the data? Let alone all the copyright issues that go into model training and everything. But you are putting the human back at the center of it and making it a very kind of human story. And to use the word like agency in the more human sense, not the AI sense of like give humans back their agency. And we do have an opportunity to build a better relationship with AI and to be more thoughtful about that. And you're right, it is about the data that we feed it. So hopefully next time someone sees a survey, they don't put the question into GPT and then put the response back into the survey. They actually take the time to think about, what do I actually feel about this and how do I respond in a more creative and human way? Because you're right, that is going to be how these systems get better and how we put more of our human side into them. I mean, I really love that response. On that note, actually, are there specific ways that outside of putting, stuff into a survey, are there other ways that you think that humans can embody that more in daily life? Because I think it is a very empowering way to look at interacting with it.
Right. So if we think about what we play, right, in the ecosystem, we talk about one thing, we as a data input from basically generating data from how we see the world. That's one important aspect that we talked about. The other one is also interacting with the tools. Just like I said, hey, when you get something, we are the technologist. I'm optimistic, and I think the technology itself will elevate our productivity. I'm not saying we shouldn't use them, right? We should totally use them. I think that's the other perspective. Go use the tool. Get yourself familiar with the technology. That's the building block for the next generation of our human society. I think we should equip ourselves to really be able to leverage the benefit of AI. So that's the other one, like being a responsible user, being a responsible citizen in this ecosystem, right? Give our input, get the benefit, use that. That's a companion we will have in our future or from today and go on. You want it to be better. At the same time, we want us to be better. So it has to be an interactive way, and it will be an iterative way that we keep evolving together.
Completely agree. The media that I read often portrays this as a displacement or replacement narrative with a lot of fear around, will AI take our jobs? The more I speak to technologists on this show, chief AI officers, people like yourself, the more I see a more positive future that is very much about building like a not codependent, but maybe a little bit, because they depend on the data, but just this very collaborative relationship, a thought partner with AI. I think that's a very positive way to think about it. So I thank you for sharing that specific approach as well. I mean, shifting a little bit towards career, you've grown at SurveyMonkey to be, VP of AI and ML. That's a position that many people would love to be in with a, technology background. Do you have any advice for anyone that's aspiring to that sort of role within their organization?
That's a very similar advice I would give to an organization who wants to adopt AI, right? As a leader in the space, it's a very similar thought process. Now, like giving your a practitioner, if you wanted to really help your organization realizing the benefit of AI, the first thing is still, right? You really understand your company's business need and identify the most impactful use cases where AI or even any technology that come up can make a difference. And I love this statement of, right, technology is not a destination. It's just another tool. It resonated with me a lot when I read it from Saukan, his new book. The value of AI itself isn't in the technology itself. It's in how it enables business to solve problems, enhancing product and improve efficiency. Right? So always focus on the business. Second, I think we talk about really focusing on building the right technology foundations to support the AI initiatives. This means ensuring the organization has scalable data system. If you're not there yet, right, really figure out what are the gaps you have. Do you need to modernize your tech stacks? Do you need to put in operational processes to be able to integrate AI successfully, so on and so forth? I think really look into where you are, where the company is in the journey of the transformation.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I've also found that me personally, in my interaction with these tools, it's the more I invest time into it, the more I think about my own kind of data foundation, or like what are the documents, or kind of like how do I structure the things that I, typical use cases I'm using with these tools, like how do I make that more productive? There's almost a direct correlation between the amount of time I invest in thinking about the structure, the underlying foundation to make the tool more personally useful to me. So I think that's, something that people should really heed, and particularly to your points about how organizations can benefit from this. And I mean, looking forward, I think this is a space where no one likes to make predictions because it moves so fast and it's so easy to be wrong. But, where do you see the field in the next 5 years? What are key things that you would look out for?
Honestly, you nailed it. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know exactly where like this technology wave will take us in the next 5 years or even 2 years. But I mean, what I do know is the productivity gain that we're already seeing across industries are very real. Whether it's transforming workflows, enabling new products, or solving problems that we couldn't tackle before, AI has the immense potential, and we have already seen that. I am optimistic about the future, like I said. I believe that if we approach AI thoughtfully with a focus on solving real-world problems and benefiting humanity, we are just scratching the surface of what's possible. So just look out there and go use the technology and be ready for the future.
Yeah, I love that. Those are good words to leave our audience with, everyone today. Jing Huang, thank you so much for coming on the show. If our listeners want to follow your work and what you're doing at SurveyMonkey, where should they go?
They can always find me on LinkedIn. I think that's probably one of the best places. I do post periodically if I have any thoughts there. So they can search my name on LinkedIn and SurveyMonkey. Always go on the SurveyMonkey website and try our new tools.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing your vision for a more optimistic future. Some of the very practical things you're doing at SurveyMonkey today. It's been a pleasure, Jing. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ben. It's been a pleasure too.